Well, I'm so glad you mentioned about a little bit about your background as well. So my background's also in IT, but again, it was all about military slash government contracting and everything. But it sounds like you had, I don't want to say like large corporation, but a bigger size,
Mhm.
maybe anywhere from mid to large. But then you also said, startups as well. So you're getting the big of the big and the small of the small, which so glad you mentioned that, because no wonder why your hacks are so good in
Yeah.
regards to your module itself, right? And now you also talk about self-care and also the whole like lessons learned aspect from your
Mm.
modules as well. But the hacks, again, in regards to like cross-referencing between both of ours, no wonder why your hacks are so good. Now I wouldn't have been able to even think about a lot of the things that you talked about specifically, but I'm intrigued. Like, what do you believe was the main reason why, or a pinnacle of your career as a project manager, or before, why you even decided to do this whole hack situation for the module?
That's a great question. Um, I think back to my career, and there's a saying like, if it's silly and it works, it's not silly, kind of thing. Um, and I think in another chat I had with Joe, I remember this scene in Harry Potter, and it's talking about one character who's using this book to make potions or something. And he realizes in the margins are all these little notes about better ways to do it. And so, like, there's the manual, there's the way to do it, but then there's what we all discover is a way that works better, or is more efficient, or just makes more sense. And that's what all those little notes in the margins were. And I thought back to the different types of projects I've been on. Um, one always comes to mind: driving a hard disk 3 hours across state lines to update a server. Like, that's not in a book anywhere, but what's the quickest way to update something? Well, sometimes you pick up the box and you go take it to the other place. So thinking back to all of these rules that we might be taught as a project manager, and thinking back to all these situations I've been in where maybe the rule or the accepted way of doing it was non-optimal for some reason, and then wanting to show others that there are other ways to do it. We don't have to do it by the book. Again, kind of touching back earlier, there will be some instances where there's a regulation or a requirement or a constraint that prevents us from doing certain things. However, within that, there is a ton of, I'll say, wiggle room to find other interesting ways to do things. And so that mindset has helped me a lot through my career. And that's why I went with like the hacks idea. I don't want to call them shortcuts, because that suggests we're not doing the job properly or we're forgetting something. But hacks, like, how do we make this work in a way that supports everything and is quicker or more efficient or better suited than other ways?